Written by Buggodaseas.
"Foolish dragon," proclaimed the knight, "my armor renders me immune to your flames."
"Foolish knight,"
sneered the dragon.
"Not all dragons spit fire."
Sir Prepare-a-Lot slid off his mount at the base of the path that led to the dragon's lair. The big roan warhorse that had seen him through many a scrape snorted nervously, its unease at both the wafting rancor in the air and being separated from its master evident. Sir Lot smiled fondly at the animal, almost as much a part of him as himself. Without it, he was a pretty good knight. Mounted, he was a natural disaster, or so his enemies had been known to say. But the path forward was not for the horse, though it pained the man so. Resplendent in white shining armor that he wouldn't be caught dead wearing in an actual battlefield, he was nevertheless protected against the most fearsome of the dragon's weapons, its awesome fire breath, by dint of the various enchantments painfully woven into it by magic and his own blood. Lots of it. It had been some time since he could recover from that ordeal. His horse, though, did not have the benefit of the same. To even attempt to do the same for the massive amount of armor that would be necessary for his hulking beast would have killed him. And so, with a final pat to his steed and a prayer on his lips, he set out on the narrow path to, God willing, put an end to the winged menace that had been tormenting the people of his land. Sure, warriors and knights had tried before, all meeting the same fate, but Sir Lot was feeling quite good about his chances. He was well equipped and a nasty customer. And most importantly, he had motivation in spades. For you see, until now, killing the dragon had been something of a social service undertaking, but now, the king had declared half the country and the hand of his eldest daughter to any man, woman, or otherwise who could rid the land of this scaly plague. Sure, the princess was known widely as someone who her own mother would be hard-pressed to love, but half of the kingdom was sounding like sweet justification for someone in as precarious a position as Sir Lot. Finally reaching the entrance to the cave, he was blasted full in the face by a rancid wind, carrying the odor of stale meat, shit, and few other things he could not put a name to. A lesser man would have gagged and heaved, but Sir Prepare-a-Lot had thoughtfully stuffed some aromatic citrus herbs beneath his helmet, not to mention the wet rag he had over his mouth and nose. As it was, his mouth simply curled in displeasure before he stalked forwards. The absolute darkness in the cave would have posed a tad bit of a problem, especially as he delved deeper, but Sir Prepare-a-Lot was nothing if not meticulous. He unwrapped the bandage he had wrapped around his right eye and took a moment to get used to the odd sensation as his dark adapted eye fed him images of the gray world that now surrounded him. Sword held firmly in both hands, he stalked forward, the faint sound of a bellows-like breath growing louder. Finally, he emerged from out of the enormous passageway in which he'd been, into an even more enormous cavern, where a great ugly brute of a beast was snoring, its breath sending great puffs of dust up with each exhale. Muffled feet making no sound, wasn't he not Sir Prepare-a-Lot? He crept forward, hoping to stick it one in the eye before it was any the wiser. But then again, the beast was also not the great dragon Dogatuin for nothing, and he'd barely taken a few steps before both of its beady yellow eyes shot open, an unnatural yellow glow illuminating them from within as they fixed unerringly on his rather eye-watering armor. Its mouth split open in a nasty grin. Sir Lot was unfazed.
"Laugh all you want, dragon. I will be the one having the last laugh,"
he declared ominously. Dogatuin lifted his enormous bulk in an unbelievably smooth motion, the movement sending tremors through the ground. Still fixing the night with his beady glare, he hooked a shrub that was growing on a nearby wall and tore it out with practiced ease. Striking a steely claw against a nearby rock, he set the shrub aflame and bent, inhaling deeply. Sir Lot watched warily. Rising, the dragon's reptilian eyes now seemed nearly full black.
Pray tell, Sir Knight.
It drawled, its voice as deep as the great ocean.
How will you be doing that?
Foolish reptile!
Sneered Sir Lot, taking another step forward.
This armor was enchanted by the best of the tower's blood mages, with mine own blood, to withstand your hellish dragon flame. Without it, you're just an overgrown lizard.
Dogatuin blinked a moment, eyes widening. Then he threw back his head and bellowed out a great deep laugh. Sir Lot only tightened his grip on his sword and stepped closer.
Now, where did you come to that conclusion?
He asked, mirth evident in his evil voice.
Do not think to slither your way out of this with your serpent-tongue lizard. The mage Dreyfus clearly stated your ability to roast anyone who stood against you alive.
The dragon cackled again.
Foolish knight. Not all dragons spit fire.
And the great serpent's maw opened, and it spit the sickest rhymes known this side of Christ. It involved a great deal of alliteration, cadence, meter, and some very unflattering comments about the knight, his horse, the stable boy, and Sir Lot's mother. Artfully woven together with disparaging remarks about certain phallic organs and gymnastic acts, and questions raised regarding the virtue of his grandmother to boot, this onslaught brought the brave Sir Lot to his knees.
No more!
He screamed.
No more! Please, I beg you!
As he ineffectually clutched his helmet, tears streaming down his face. Unrelenting, Dogatuin finished it all up with raunchy observations about Sir Lot's dad and the bus driver, and this was finally too much for the noble soul, who keeled over dead. Dogatuin stared at the cooling corpse for a moment, inhaling the fumes from the burning shrub.
Fool.